Welcome to the Unlocking Senior Resources podcast by Leave the Key. I'm Larry Wagner, and I've spent 30 years working with seniors where I was a certified senior advisor and the last 15 years in the home buying industry as a certified senior transition specialist, where I specialize in dealing with seniors going through a transition in their lives. This podcast is for seniors, those with seniors they love, and people who work in the senior community. In each episode, we bring on a guest who works to improve the lives of seniors. This podcast is your key to unlocking senior resources. Today we're here with Kim Kuester from 101 Mobility. Welcome,
Yes.
Kim.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Glad to do so. So you're in you're in the business of creating mobility, keeping people aging in place
Correct.
in their homes.
Exactly right.
This is not what you planned on doing when you were 5 years old. I'm going to grow up and be in the mobility business.
This is true.
So how did you get here?
Well, the evolution began, I guess it's because I'm the oldest of three children. The gap there is 10 years between myself and the next sibling. So the oldest child, they kind of take control in the family, right? And my father, mother, and grandmother, we're all very, very close. My mother did much in real estate. My father was an attorney who handled real estate and general practitioner. And then my grandmother was in the picture as my mother was an only child. So we were very, very tight-knit. I lived with my grandmother during law school. I went to law school also.
I was going to bring that up after I saw it in your profile.
Yeah. So we just kind of worked in a team.
Right.
Well, that team got older and life came into the mix, and cancer came into the mix for my mother, and it was, the battlegrounds with that. And I kind of went through all the different evolutions of my father had Alzheimer's, dementia, and Parkinson's. My grandmother, just old age. And so I was the primary caregiver for, they kind of went, of course there was overlaps,
Right.
But it was my mother first, and then it's amazing because my mother's, when it came to cancer, the body went, and but her mind was sharp as a tack, and she was propping my dad up when my dad's mind was going, but his body was,
Right. Yeah. Together they were one complete person.
Exactly. Everybody together was fabulous.
Yes. Yeah.
So as primary caregiver, and also I had all of the legal background also. So I did the real estate with my father. I did estate work with him. I did a lot of the practical things. It's crazy what I actually did for a real job. But I was a prosecutor in the district attorney's office for my whole beginning of my career. So I was very, take charge. You're, Kimberly will take care of it. Yeah. That was, or as my grandmother would say, Kimberly. She's from Queens and has a thick,
Queens.
Yeah, thick accent.
I was expecting it's another country, not another county.
Yeah, Kimberly. But so needless to say, I was the person at the discharge planner's office at the table deciding what, dad's going home from yet another stay in rehab. Is he ready to go home? And I say, sure, he's ready to come home. Okay, great. How's he getting in the house?
Right.
I said, well, he'll go up the stairs. He's like, he's not coming back the same way he left the house, Kim.
Right.
And I was like, okay, and so different things I had to go through in my experiences with my dad, and interestingly enough, it was with his diagnosis, there's with Alzheimer's, dementia, and Parkinson's, it's the shuffle. It's the, he lost his ability to walk through his brain, right?
Oh, there you go.
And then my grandmother did in her 93, because of just old age. And so everything in the house had to be adapted to my grandmother's house, to my father's house, and then to my house because my grandmother actually came back and lived with me.
Oh gosh.
We swapped. I lived with her in law school. She lived with me later on down the road.
Way back.
But she was the greatest. I mean, she was, she had everything, one of those old school that only does math by her brain,
There you
like
go. My
not the
father.
calculator. Yeah, that's how they were raised,
Yeah,
And now I can't spell a lick, but
That's right.
never line math.
The computer does that.
Exactly. So I that was my experience. I also then was the true sandwich generation as the adult child taking care of the older parents. I called them the big kids, and then there were my little kids, right? I had 2 children. So I was in between the two, and you juggle, and but I learned a lot along the way. And my nice way of saying it is my job with my big kids ended. That's, you put that together.
That's right. Yeah, I'll put that together. Let me think that's true.
Yeah, right, exactly. And my children went off, and are still in school now, but, they went, and I said, I'm not going to be left like a puddle on my hardwood floors, right?
Yeah.
So I started to go into different things. Being a prosecutor, which was my real profession, I would be doing 24, 48-hour tours, and litigation like that is not an easy lifestyle. And commuting to Brooklyn, not so easy either.
No.
So,
That's even further in the country of Queens.
yeah, it certainly is. I still do work there. But with that being said, I
Life experiences.
and my friends are like, you have to be your own boss. I mean, that's all there is to it at this stage of the game. Because I've been doing this for about 6, 7 years. I've owned the company now here on Long Island. So it's been some time, and it's been great. I do things the way I would like to do them, and I am very old school. I keep things very small. I'm a certain old school mentality. If you have time to lean, you have time to clean, and it is like, it's very tight knit in our offices. I only have 8 employees,
Right.
but they all have experience and certifications, like, all off the scale. So I like it that way because I feel like we operate much more efficiently, smaller, and more professional. Like they know what they're doing. It's not like they need to figure things out. They can be in and out. They're not going through manuals unless they're new products. I mean, there's always
I would like to think there's always new products.
There's always new products, and there is always a learning curve. But I have to say, bread and butter, what we do, probably 70% of what we do are stairlifts and wheelchair ramps. That's our day in, day out.
Right.
And then, you're probably going to answer. Well, I should probably say what 101 Mobility does.
Right. That's a good point. But I have one question sort of back before we end your journey to here. When you were dealing with this mobility issue with your family, did you find a successful experience or an unsuccessful experience? Like a frustrating one. My daughter is dealing with her 2 children, and my granddaughter goes for therapy, and she doesn't like the way the therapist office is set up, things like that. And she sees all the things that are wrong in the industry. Was that something you experienced or not really?
You really... I can't really comment on anything really bad within each nook. What I try to do based upon my experiences that I had, my experiences where I was young in the elder community.
Right.
I was probably in my 30s when things really started hitting. And I was much more adept to getting a babysitter than a caregiver for my family members. So everything was so new to me, and I had to research everything. So, and then I believe that it's new to everyone because in my experiences, it all depends upon what you're being handed to contend with.
Correct.
I mean, my dad, I mean, if you see the size of me, he's 6'5", 260.
Huh.
So he did different things. I mean, a giant stubborn Irishman, with Alzheimer's, dementia, and Parkinson's.
Oh, gosh.
Oh
man.
the back of the house, it's you have to have comedy. I mean, that's the only way you make it through. And that applies to everybody. But the back of the house was 2 stories of windows, and the way you would get out to the back is by a sliding glass door, right? Well, through the years, you know what a sliding, how to manage that side to side. Well, and with Alzheimer's, dementia, sometimes that slide is forgotten and you want to push it out.
Oh, gosh.
And a man that is 6'5",
It could be
260, can make sure that the whole sliding glass door goes out.
Wow.
So that's, is that what you expect?
Right.
No, but that was how I had to modify the house.
Right.
And so that would, but other than that, yes, I had to make sure those steps in the front, the 3 steps, somehow or another, there's 3 or 4 steps into every house.
Right. It's amazing.
Really, if you think about it.
You have a ranch house, it's ground level with the steps.
3 steps.
Yeah.
Right? Well, here's the thing also.
Mine, I have 2 steps, then 1 step, and then 3 steps.
Right. Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
Here's a big thing. On Long Island, in New York, in this area.
Yeah.
It's not new country. This is all, not much of it's been built. I live in a house that's from 1920 was built.
Okay.
So many of our split levels, there's 60s, 70s, all before the American Disabilities Act, right?
Oh, of course.
So now we have something called universal design.
Right.
So the builders, you don't even recognize that they are making things ADA compliant. I mean, you look at, for instance, in the city and your sidewalks, they all dip down.
Right.
You never recognize that all of a sudden there was a dip down. You're not, stepping down anymore. But so many universal designs are incorporated in today's building of new homes and things like that, which is fantastic.
Is that a requirement?
It is not a requirement.
I didn't think it was.
It's not a requirement, but it is what people...
Right.
It's kind of like we're being educated and there's progress being made.
Yep.
Because now it's universally designed. It's for everyone.
Right.
And, and people who don't have challenges, they don't even recognize.
Right.
I also say, another great example is when you go to resorts with the 0 entry swimming pool.
Yes. Right.
Where do you think that came from?
Yep.
And it's all the rage, right? So now
That's all the rage. Now it's
everyone goes,
because you want it, not because it helps other people.
right, but it certainly does, right?
For sure. We're just moving into a house. I mentioned an apartment behind my house that my wife's parents lived in for 30 years. Before my wife and I move in, we're making it also accessible. Widening all the doors. We expanded the bathroom by 3 feet, so we have the 5-foot turning radius.
We do a ton of that. So
You do that.
all the time, yeah.
So it's not just installing
No,
pre-unit units.
It's my business is modifying the homes and giving people options, so that they can stay there. And a big, to take off on what you yourself are doing.
Right.
I find it so very important to have a conversation with the immediate need, but it's we're not just talking about today or 3 months. You want to look and see what's coming down the road in the next 10, 20, hopefully. I mean, if you're 70 or 72, you got 30 years going.
That's right.
I mean, think about that.
Yeah.
And people do have little things that they're challenges. And much of what I do also is just an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Please call me before the fall.
Right.
Please, but my phone, unfortunately rings so much more often with the Monday phone call in panic. I just got, I got a call from the rehab saying mom's being discharged Thursday.
Wow.
And
short time frame.
Panic. So that panic ensues. They're in crisis mode. They're, and I I laugh. I get very, very curt and frantic people on, with these experiments. That was me too,
Yes.
right? I was mad. I was like, this is madness. Like, what are we going to do here? He's coming home Thursday.
Right.
So that's when they're calling me, and you calm things down. We are able, I can say in a day, this is something that I love to share with people, because when you are in that crisis, you don't realize how much you can do in short order.
Are you meaning your company? You meaning the homeowner?
Both.
Both. Okay. Good answer.
And
Good
I
answer.
need the homeowner
Right.
to
Right.
give me the thumbs up. But let's say my dad, for instance, is being discharged on Thursday. What does he need?
Right.
He needs to get into the house, those 3 steps. He needs a wheelchair ramp.
Right.
Okay. We have my warehouse offices and showroom are in the center of Long Island in Farmingdale, and my whole warehouse is filled with aluminum wheelchair ramp. I explain to people it's just like Legos. You connect those modular pieces with the handrails together in whatever form is necessary to go over the bushes or around the bushes or, down the walkway. And we configure the ramp to what your house needs. And also keep being very mindful. People don't realize you can't have grandma on a cliff.
Right. You have a required, I think it's 1 to 12. Is it?
So it's the ratio, it's ADA compliance, but that doesn't have, for every inch of rise of your step, you need a foot
Right.
of ramp.
Right.
But need was the wrong word to say. If you're in a residence, which, I do commercial work also, and then that's ADA compliant.
Right.
But ADA, is really just a suggestion for the residents.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it is. And so what that is if you are, like, let's say I'm installing my ramp in Southampton, I have to be to the exact letter of ADA compliance. And sometimes that really messes things up. But like people kind of shrug and say they don't care. It's a company, right?
Okay.
There's companies and there's companies. It matters to me. I'm small business. So
you brought up the Hamptons because the Hamptons is going to require it for a homeowner where another town doesn't?
No, it's commercial.
Oh, if it's commercial.
There's a ramp on I have a ramp in the village of
that's why.
Southampton.
You mentioned the Hamptons, but a commercial. Okay, got it.
Yeah, but it's commercial.
Okay.
Right. So that needs to be compliant. Right. And whereas importantly in the residence, I don't have to be, we just have to be safe. And so what that means is maybe I can come off, I can be a bit shorter, right? So that I don't go into gravel or, you're not putting, you're not dropping the end of the ramp into a precarious situation.
Right.
We can come off a foot. That's not going to make a big difference.
Right.
But the amount of, I love my phone calls from Brooklyn where you've got the stoop.
Yes.
The stoop and
8 feet.
They like a ramp.
Right.
I'm like, okay, you're going off the stoop.
Right.
And you're going to
45-degree
and
angle.
go right into 150.
Right.
So, but needless to say. So back to the, mom's being discharged on Thursday. Ramp, it's in my warehouse. I can install the ramp 2, 3, 4 hours, depending upon how much ramp we're talking about. Then you walk through that front door, and more often than not, we do install in the front door for the wheelchair ramps because it's typically going into the foyer, which is the most amount of access to all the other rooms and the most amount of room. So more often than not, we're doing the ramp into the front door than the side, because the side's also typically going into the kitchen which is more, there's more obstacles in its way. So let's just say, for example purposes, we went through that front door, and then so many of our homes are on the second level, right? Or even split level.
Yeah.
You have a staircase right in front of you, and there we can install a stair lift. The stair lift, so that it's all about education. I didn't know this, but the stair lift gets drilled, 4 screws get drilled into the platform that is drilled into this hardwood floor step.
So the first step.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Nothing touches the molding, the wall.
Uh-huh.
Everybody asks, including myself, is it gonna? Do I have to redo my moldings, things
Right.
like that? No, it's 4 screws, and when you take them out, it's just like hanging a picture.
Right.
You have a little hole. With the hardwood floors, it's not like a wall because you see the hole. Like,
Right.
when you see wood, I'm looking at wood right now.
Right.
It's a million different colors, dimensions.
Yep.
You don't see the hole, but if you do, it's wood putty, and
Yeah.
you like look, done.
Yeah.
So really, it's very easy to, let's say, remove and not have it be an issue.
On a 13
I'm still
step.
going.
There you go. Okay, you got
So
answer
the
that.
platform, I always say it's the size of your fist.
Right.
And it's the platform has those 4 screws, and then there's a platform every 3 to 4 steps.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's not every step getting
Right,
to
right,
that
right.
platform. And then the rail runs straight on top of those platforms, and then the chair runs up and down on
Right.
that rail. Okay. But then that's a straight stair lift. That carries the most amount of options for you, meaning you can purchase brand new stair lift, you can purchase a pre-owned stair lift, and you can also purchase or rent the stair lift. So those are the 3 options that we have for people.
What's the difference in price from a pre-owned to a new?
Right. So I always start, your barometer is brand new.
Right.
So $3,250 includes the brand new stair lift and installation. It also includes, with my company, a 1-year labor warranty.
Right.
So anything called
Right,
out
right.
to send the guys to the house, there's no charge for that.
Right.
And
So how much? Say 3,200.
yeah, $3,250.
3,250, and that's for one full flight of stairs.
Correct.
Wow, that's much less than I would have thought.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the worst that it's going to be. There's different manufacturers. There are upgrades that you can do. Not that many. I mean, we joke all the time, like, you're called a salesperson.
Right.
What are you selling? There's no fringe, there's no rhinestone.
Right, right.
This is utility.
You're fixing it. You're completing a need.
Yes.
That's not selling.
It's
Yeah.
really not.
Yeah.
But there is, like, the more powerful molder that you can upgrade to.
Uh-huh.
There's also, with the more powerful.
Would that be for heavier
molder-
person?
Correct.
Okay.
So there is bariatric chairs that go in a significant weight capacities.
Right.
So we where was I then? So there's the purchase of the
Right.
3250. Oh, and it also carries that manufacturer's warranty.
Right.
So that's on the major motor parts that comes with everything, and that's 10 years. They say lifetime, but I like to say 10 years because one manufacturer has a little line on there. But let's face facts.
Right.
Their useful life is really
Right.
genuinely a 10-year span,
Right.
and that's pretty decent.
And I assume most people, I assume, aren't using this for 10 years. I said there are young people who need them, but
Well, they're
a large,
more often than not, it's
Yeah.
seniors.
most, I was going to say, and they're not in a motorized lift for 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, they certainly do last long. I mean, we go out and repair 20-year-old stair lifts.
Yeah, okay.
When they're still in production, which
Right.
not that many are. So the stair lift, the straight stair lifts are what we've been talking about. However, there are many stair places that will do, the worst is a 90-degree turn, right? So you go up 90 turn. Those stairs turn in a pie shape.
Uh-huh.
So you have to have steel
Mm-hmm.
bent.
Right.
That's custom.
Yeah.
There is a new product. That steel bending would take 6 to 8 weeks.
Wow.
Wow.
So that's coming on Thursday. It doesn't work.
Hold on. But I have another, one of my companies that we've been working for, the Homebuyers, has been around for years and years and years. They have created, because the need is there.
Yeah.
Dad's coming home Thursday. We have a new called Upstair Lift where we can install it by Thursday,
Wow.
which is a dramatic change. The most impactful thing, though, I will do everything in my power to have it make sense for you to have one stair lift or one straight or two straights. I do the two straights in split level houses across Long Island because you go up that one span and then your living quarters are all on that one floor and then another 6 steps, let's say, to the bedrooms.
Right.
They're two separate straights. And why I do everything in my power to do two straights is because a custom curve stair lift, whenever you use the word custom, right?
Yep.
We can do, let's just say for round numbers, a brand new stair lift costs $3,000.
Right.
2 then would cost $6,000.
Right.
A custom curve starts at $12,000.
Wow.
Never would think that in a million years, right?
Wow.
But the pricing is really tough. But with that being said,
I so impressed with 3,000. I'm equally impressed with 12,000, but not in a good way.
I know.
Yeah.
But where it comes into play, and this is also when I share with people, that 12,000 could be the difference between you staying in your house or having to go to assisted living, or typically people aren't going first to the nursing home, but
right.
On Long Island, when you talk about going into a facility, you're starting at
it's 1 month.
12,000 for a month.
Yeah.
So and also when I speak about duration, I'm not going to look at a situation and put 2 straight stair lifts when I see mom is, she's going to need one to carry her all the way. She's not going to be able to do that shuffle.
Yeah.
She needs to be in a continuous chair all the way up. And I have had instances where people are like, no, mom will be fine to do the 2.
And then she's not.
And then she's not in 2-3 years. And then that investment of the 2 straights has to be taken out. Now I'm going into something else. I do a buyback with all my stair lifts and my wheelchair ramps. I have the buyback program. So they're not, completely out of luck. But that's not what you'd want to do.
Right, of course not.
You'd want to do that custom curve to begin.
Yes.
And this is, again, where every situation is different.
And it can't be added after the fact.
No, it can't.
Yeah.
No, it's because it's that, it's
it's the one piece.
Right.
It's like you're bending a curve and clipping it on, bolting it in.
The new one that gets installed within the week, that is modular.
I would think that's what I was going to use, modular.
Yeah.
Does that work on a flat curve, or if the stairs are going up where it's like a compound?
Oh, yeah, it compounds.
Okay.
Yeah, it goes up and trails
the
way. So that's stair lifts, and this is where I speak to people about all the different options. There's many ways to skin the cat, right? So, and much of it depends upon what's appropriate for you. Let's say, and what I've done many times, which is kind of crazy, but we will, if mom's getting discharged Thursday, we'll install 2 straight stair lifts where that it's on the cusp of which way to go. Yeah. And let's say she'll rent them.
Right. There you go.
Until such time as the custom curve is done. And then we switch out the rentals for the curve.
Right.
So we have many different options. So to go over them with you is the purchase of that new $2,250. Including the installation. And then we also do purchases of pre-owned units that we have as well.
And all those you bought back.
Yeah.
You're not getting it from somewhere else.
No.
Yes.
No, it's all maintained. Right. Everything's maintained by us. Everything is.
Do you have service contracts on these?
Yeah.
Okay, so they really are maintained by you.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
It's by the choice of the home. I mean, it's their stair lift when they purchase it. They can absolutely choose to do the preventive maintenance on it and keep it up, or they can just roll the dice and say, it's going to work whenever I want it to work. Right. It's like anything, right? It's a lot like a car, Nobody's going to force you to bring it in for service.
Yes.
But it's really a good idea to get that oil changed.
That's right.
On the car. And we have like lubricants and things. So we have a 17-point checklist for our maintenance. So we recommend it, but everybody's an individual. So nothing from coming from my place is going to be pushed upon you.
There you go.
So it's really where this goes into something else, but we are changing people's lives. I mean, we genuinely are. And it's that impactful to make the difference between you being able to stay in your home safely or having to leave.
That's huge. And
having to leave. It also, I get the adult children calling in and, oftentimes the Monday after visiting mom and dad over the weekend, they're like, we had no idea it got to this, and we have to do something immediately. They don't want to go to a nursing home, or they don't want to go to assisted living. They want to stay at home. So we will do that. So the pre-owns are priced according to the year of age. 1-year-old units, $2,850. A 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 4-year-olds, it keeps going down $200 each.
Hi, I'm Larry. And I'm Ben. We're the father and son team of Leave the Key Homebuyers, and we want to buy your house.
We specialize in working with seniors who are transitioning out of their homes, and we understand what you are going through.
So if you're considering selling your home and would like an alternative to the traditional overwhelming process, reach out and see how we can help.
Do you have an outdated home?
No need to update anything.
Have a home that needs repairs?
Don't bother with repairs.
Don't want to take everything with you?
Leave whatever you want behind.
Dreading the headaches that come with agents?
Sell your home without paying a commission.
Dreading prying neighbors, attending open houses, and passing judgment on your home?
No need for public showings.
When you sell to us, you'll have all the certainty of closing on your timeline, not someone else's, and there's absolutely no pressure.
Visit leavethekey.com or call us today for a no-obligation offer at 631-388-7771 if you want to sell your home today.
So to just wrap up in a day, you did a wheelchair ramp to get in, you did a stair lift to go upstairs to where you're sleeping, and then the next zone of danger is the bathroom.
I was going to say the bathroom, yep.
And in 2 hours, I love the tub cut. If the bathroom, the primary bathroom that's being used is a tub only, shower's fine. You're all good. Like, leave your shower, you're great. Leave it be, or go to the other bathroom that has a shower. But if you're just faced with a tub and that's the only bathroom you have upstairs, that hurdle into the tub is dramatic. Let's add soap and water. And
That's right. What could go wrong?
So
in the apartment, we just ripped out our tub and replacing
absolutely. I mean, I can't stress it enough. These are the areas. Like, I'm rolling my eyes because it's like, it's the tub hurdle. It's the stairs. You can't lose your balance on the 15th step. Or get dizzy.
Well, the problem is you can lose your balance on the 15th step is the problem.
Yeah. So, and it's that tub cut is exactly how it sounds. We go in, we do the cut of the tub, and then there's an adhesive that goes over. It's a product that it makes the tub smooth and nice and pretty.
But you're not lining the whole tub.
No.
Okay.
It's just that one aspect.
I've never seen that.
It's new.
I
can do it in 2 hours. I can do it for 2,100.
And you don't have to rip out the whole bathroom.
You don't have to change a faucet, a drain. You don't have to do tile. You're not without your bathroom for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. You're without your bathroom for 2 hours. And now you're using and bathing in your bathroom in 2 hours. And, you run through the costs and the time for one day, from Monday to Thursday, I can get you back into the house.
That's amazing.
Where those are the hurdles that need to be covered.
You're under $10,000. You're in the house. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
And you're there. Like, that will cover you well. Think about that. In and out of the house, up and down the stairs, and bathing. That covers you well.
That works if you have a cane, a walker, but once you're in a wheelchair, we have a whole different story.
You do, and that is when safe patient handling comes into play. Sometimes patients can transfer to the chair to take them up. Once it comes to that next level, it's ceiling track systems, Hoyer lifts, and it's I do the track system from bedroom to bathroom to sitting room, let's say.
Oh, really?
And that track goes, and the person's held by a trapeze,
Right.
and they go from one room to the next.
It's like the Hoyer lift without the wheels.
Right. Or zip lining for grandma.
Zip lining for grandma. I like that. Even better. Much more exciting.
Much more fun. I mean, all these things are great fun. The problem is my grandson was on this stairlift.
That's right. That's right. It is definitely a game for the little ones.
It's not drearsome. It is. It's I can't tell you how many people send their laundry up in the stair.
Right.
It's
That's not a bad idea.
I mean, that's what everybody starts. Water.
So you control it from up and down.
Yeah, remote control.
Okay.
As well as right here.
So it's on
There's a
the
little
chair.
push.
So if the chair is upstairs and I'm downstairs,
Remote control.
you have one remote control?
Two.
Oh, two. So top
One
and bottom.
upstairs, one downstairs.
Perfect. That's what I wanted to know. So because I know my parents, they live in the house a split level way too long, and my father used to put the laundry in a bag and kick it down the stairs.
Yeah.
But then they have to put in multiple bags to bring it up the stairs, and he couldn't kick it up so easily.
Yeah.
And it was. Okay, so you have to call them now a laundry lift, and you open up your audience. That's it.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh, do you know how many? I lost my golden retriever after 12 years. So I can't tell you how many people. Do you have anything for the dog?
Oh, yeah.
I can send up. Well, yes, your lap.
Your lab. That's right.
The golden retriever is not.
He's not saying
so
your lap.
easy.
Yeah.
We're a larger segment, but
Yeah.
so yeah, that's the most of what we do. We serve all of Long Island, Nassau, Suffolk, Queens, Brooklyn. We'll go to. I also, I do a lot of agency work,
Right.
for let's say, children with disabilities. The state will call me and they do a bid process and things like that.
Right.
So we offer up the bids, but everything from 101 Mobility, Long Island, in Farmingdale, we're
Right.
located with those offices. Everything in my company is under my roof.
What is your role as CEO, owner? I usually see everything when you're,
Yeah.
I don't mean SE, I mean see everything.
yeah.
What is your role in the company? Do you go out and see clients, or you have people
I
doing
don't.
that? Okay.
I make sure everyone is licensed. Everybody's,
What
traveling.
license is there?
So we have a contractor's license.
Okay.
We have there's licensing and for New York State. There's more also insurance. Like
Yeah.
I'm constantly reviewing contracts, signing agreements. Right now I'm in bonding.
Yes.
What different bondings
For the
we're
commercial
doing.
work.
So right. So we have, my days are kept up. Also, I manage the 8 employees,
Right.
and do the juggle with that. I do a lot of scheduling. I also do a tremendous amount of getting out there and sharing with everybody what we're capable of doing and
Like
how
being here.
we can help people, and being here. And we go to senior centers. I go to
Right.
senior centers. I have many different speeches that I do on a regular basis to inform people.
Right.
What can you do if you want to stay home?
Right.
And if COVID taught me anything, when grandma says she wants to stay home,
Right.
now we're listening a little bit
Yep.
more, and we can do it. We can do it. And there's if you go to a facility, there's situations oftentimes where that's the right call.
Absolutely.
But if you do want to stay home, if that is the decision that's made, we can modify your house so that you're safe to stay there.
So I have a question. You're saying something. My in-laws moved to independent living because due to COVID, they became very isolated, like all of us. And they did it for social reasons. They didn't need independent living. It's independent living. Right. She's capable of cooking and so on. They lived in our house, in an apartment that we're moving into now. How many installations do you do for people who live alone?
A lot.
You do. I was wondering.
So many. So many.
That's
it's a matter of, you couldn't get my grandmother to a facility
Right.
if you had a crowbar.
Uh-huh.
It's more of many times it's cultural.
Right.
Well,
absolutely.
It's generational.
Yeah.
They stay with you.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more of an ideology of do you want to go to someplace else, or do you want to stay home?
Right.
It is more often than not don't do for social reasons and isolation. But my take on it is we're about giving independence and your life to do what you want to do. So it's kind of just perpetuating the life you have. My family were golfers, bridge players. They weren't doing that in the house. They were going out. How are they getting in and out of the house?
Right.
Safely with a ramp. They're getting dressed, with their wide doorways, with the wheelchair. Like it's just I'm opening up the house for them. Unfortunately, I do talks all the time about, what you can do, not just with the things that I put into the house and the modifications I made, but one of my famous lines is, for the love of God, somebody put in a lamp.
Yes.
Let's lighten up this room.
Without a cord going across the floor.
Without a cord. And also, why are there 8 mats on the floor?
Yes.
We're going to pick up those mats. Yep. We're going to put some light in. We're going to change the paint in the wall so that you see the white molding and you see the wall, and there's that nice contrast so you're not bumping into that wall. There's many different things. They're not big things. And nothing I've spoken with, with the exception of a custom car lift, is, substantial.
Right.
I mean, of course, it's not anything. It's not chump change, a few $1,000s. But I do a lot of economically challenged. I can get a stair lift in for $2,400.
But it is chump change when you think of the alternative.
Everybody's
you have to put in
alternative
perspective.
is different. Yeah.
Well, if the difference is moving in with the kids, well, then it may not be chump change at all. Then those kids may not want you there, and you may not want to be with them.
Yeah. And the situations change all the time dramatically.
Right.
But we go with the flow, like and we do what is best for the people out there, and so much of what we do is word of mouth.
Right. That's the best.
I mean, Helen told me, you know what I mean? It's one of those. And we are so fortunate to have, like, my Google reviews are 4.9.
I was going to comment. I was looking at your reviews on your website and so on. There's so many. And they're
I'm so
great. I read like 20 of them.
If I ever have a bad day, I'm like, I read my Google reviews because it's just, and that's why I do it. Right.
Yes.
It's I do have goosebumps right now, but it's not making 50 cents on a cup of coffee. I am making somebody's life safe and comfortable, and I'm adding security to their shakiness, especially when they're coming back home from rehab. I mean, I don't know if you've ever had any surgeries, but I had 2 hips replaced. And when you first come home, you're going to fall every time you turn a corner. You feel like you're going to fall. And that when you proactively take steps to make your environment safe, it's all the difference in the world. So I feel very fortunate to be able to do this, and to read those Google reviews and the phone calls I get, are just, they're worth everything.
Yes, this is a life-altering business you're in.
And it's so it's my honor and pleasure to do it.
Right. We're cash home buyers. That's how I make my living. And people say how we're sharks, this and that. No, we change people's lives. People are in a situation they can't get out of. Financial distress, the house in terrible distress. They're in physical distress. So they stay there they live across the country. They have to unload this thing. And we come in and like this, we take it off their hands, and they're so thrilled. I feel great about what I do, and we also get great reviews as a result. It's not even what you do, it's how you do it. And that's so much more important. And if your screws went a little bit crooked and your thing's a little bit angled, but you do everything with a smile and compassion, all that stuff goes away.
And also, the trust that you're providing to, people ask me all the time, what's your synopsis? What's your summary on 101 mobility? And it's really, we're changing people's lives, and we're doing so with providing them solutions, and we're the people that they can trust to do the right thing in the installation, but you're not done. We have relationships for years
Right.
because of that maintenance, because batteries die.
Right.
You go to Florida for 6 months
Yeah.
and that unit isn't touched.
Right.
You're going to come back and some of them aren't going to go when you push them, because a lot like a car battery, if it's not used, it will go. You need a change of a battery. That costs $100 because everybody's going to ask me that. But you change out 2 batteries for $100. So and you come and we change those out. But it's when you get home from Florida and you push the button, it's not working. We're there. Of course, it depends upon the schedule. I can't make a hard, fast promise, but we're there within a couple of days.
Right.
2, 3, probably the max if it's, something like that. But if we can get there that day, that's what we do. That's our first choice.
Right.
But it's always, it's a triage, when
It's a
people
triage.
call.
You're right.
You
And what
really,
you
really do. Because, some people, it's amazing when people call ahead.
Right.
Can you please come and check because
Right.
mom's coming home? Can
Right.
you come and take a look? Is it ready? Yeah. What? Thank you.
Funny. I was going to ask you a question. I thought you were answering before I asked it, but it's sort of an adjunct question to that. And that is, you say, Dad's coming home Thursday, kind of thing. How often does Dad go into a facility, rehab, and he's going to be out in 2 months, and they call you with 2 months' notice?
So, and
Does that
this
happen?
is the same conversation in rehabs.
Yeah.
I mean, they meet with the family
Right.
multiple times
Right.
at intake.
Right.
At intake. And I speak to them as well because, many of the rehabs and hospitals, they share our names because they want you to get on this.
Right.
Because you are,
Right.
you have, one of my presentations is you're ready to go home, but is home ready for you?
Right.
And that has to be addressed on the initial interview, not the exit interview, right?
Correct. That's sort of what I'm asking.
Yeah, and but it's human nature, where we are
I'm guilty.
procrastinators, and I can't tell you how many, myself included, how many steps do you have? 1, 2.
5, 6,
You don't
5,
think
and
about
7.
right.
Yeah.
You don't. Nobody's asked that question before, right?
Yeah.
So it takes a little bit of thought. A lot. I can't beat people up because myself included.
Right.
When I was in that position,
Right.
I would have cried at a dime, right? Because you're in a crisis. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. But that's why I'm so fortunate to have relationships
Right.
in rehabs and things like that. No, you're not expected to know everything, but let me help you to share with you the things that you could do, and what do you want to consider? What would work? What do you think would work? Where do you see the challenges?
Right.
Where, and then we can give you options. Like what alternatives do we have? Your key, life is all about options, right?
Right.
Money gives you options,
Yep.
not happiness.
Does insurance cover these things?
Insurance is a constant battle. So long-term care insurance, yes.
Yes. used to
There
say that.
are, right. But we're called environmental modifications, right? And Medicaid, Medicare has them. The short answer is every insurance policy is different.
Right. Okay.
So what I say is we put all of the information in the name of the person who it's for, and then you have to call your own insurance companies to see what might be covered, what might not be. More often than not, I'm going to tell you a stair lift is not often covered, but I'll never be the person to say don't try,
Right.
because it
never know.
very well could be.
Long-term care insurance wants to cover it.
Absolutely.
It's a month's worth or a week's worth of coverage in a nursing home. So that one.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then there's also pooled trusts that, legally are created for exactly home modifications. Because it's about preparing, and you yourself, you're doing it right now.
Yeah.
You're preparing for, you're not going to be skipping through the
I'm
house
66. I plan on being here for the next 30 years.
And so
I keep saying 30 years. When do I have to lower that number? But my phone was 96, so I still have 30 years.
Right.
Yes.
My nanny goat was 94.
There you go. There you go.
So yeah, absolutely. And it's, people do have this urgency, but that's okay too. I mean, nobody's doing this on
Right.
purpose.
So I have a question. What sets you apart? You're not the only person on Long Island doing home modifications. There's probably another one, right? Just one more. So
Right.
just
Oh,
one more.
sure.
So what sets you apart from that other one? What sets you apart from a competition?
My competition more often than not will be providing things like they'll do purchase of wheelchairs, they'll do purchase of scooters, they'll do purchase of bath commodes, and what I do differently is anything that you can buy off Amazon.
Right.
That's not what I do.
They don't need you for that. That'll be shipped right to your front door.
Correct.
Yeah.
What I do is I send my people into the house.
Right.
My guys are taking care of it.
Right.
My guys, 8 of them, they're background checked. They're vetted. They are with me for years, 3, 4, 5, 6 plus years.
Right.
And they know what they're doing. They're efficient. They're courteous.
Right.
They are, above all, trustworthy.
Right.
And that's what sets me apart. I guess they call that customer service.
But having people who are trustworthy to you is huge because they're in your home. They're in a senior citizen's home.
Correct. The most susceptible of our.
Absolutely.
The most susceptible,
Without a doubt,
because even more susceptible than a child.
Because has a parent home.
But even more so, an aide took $25,000 out of my grandmother's bank account.
Oh,
You can't take $25,000 out of a child's bank account.
Yes, that's true.
So when I say, it's our duty to look out, and I take that very seriously.
Right.
And that's my difference. It's not just a stair lift.
Right. Absolutely.
It's a relationship, and it's trust, and it's where. I mean, I talk to my people, and then something else comes up and needs, Kimberly, will you do grab bars?
Right.
In the hallway.
Right.
Sure.
Right. Right.
And off we go with the grab bars. But like different things will come up, and then there's Helen next door.
Right. There you go. Yeah.
She wants you to look at this.
Old people know old people.
And thank God.
So thank God, absolutely. So question for you is, you've just spoken about your business for 40, 45 minutes.
Oh,
if you wanted to, it was fascinating, and I learned things I never knew. I thought is a very simple business, but you gave much more detail than I ever knew existed.
Well, thanks.
And it was also much less expensive than I thought for a basic stair lift.
Yeah.
But putting that aside, what would you say is the biggest takeaway? If somebody turned the video on now and you want to say like one thing to them, what would it be?
Don't get overwhelmed.
That's a good one.
Take it. I mean, in law school, they said you can't swallow a whole salami. Just take it one slice at a time.
Right.
And making a phone call, gathering the information. The only reason why we're there is to provide you with information and options and choices. Avail yourself to those options, and that's my takeaway. Like, learn. And our best clients are those that are the most educated. I ask them to do the homework. Please call these others. And it is about price.
Right.
I absolutely can't disagree more. It is about price. We're very competitive about pricing. But if that's the only thing you're evaluating on me, I'm not for you.
Right. There are cheaper people, but you get what you pay for.
We are
service
exactly. I mean, and I'm not saying we're a difference in price. We're not. I mean, everybody's really close, honestly.
Right.
Because nobody's making crazy margins on anything. You know what I mean? It's just it's in order to pay your employees and pay the insurance, and it's not nothing crazy. You're not doing this for millions, but you are doing it to feel good and be able to, I'm supporting 8 families.
Right.
And,
8 families?
Yeah, well,
Oh, the family
well, the
employees.
guys,
Yes.
you know.
I say it all the time. I
They're
used to have 30 employees.
Yeah. And they are like my children, and they are, completely, but I have a range in age. My general construction manager is, pushing 60, has been doing construction and accessibility. We are, the majority of us are certified aging in place specialists.
Okay.
We have CAT certification. And that just means that the National Association of Homebuyers we've gone through courses, we've got licenses, and
Right.
they have our stamp of approval for us. And we have that. And my general manager, my construction manager is 30 plus years in the business. My general manager is a Marine, and he,
great.
he's a veteran. We work with the VA all the time too. And we have the years of experience, and that's what you learn.
That's really important
what you
stuff.
learn when you call us, because we do talk and we do share, because we're very proud of what we do. It's nice.
Right. The attitude of a company comes from the top down, but it's not just the attitude you teach your employees. It's the employees you hire. So that's important.
Absolutely.
So question.
Can I just tell you that
Go ahead.
this is the happiest moment.
Yeah.
One of my guys, young, 24.
Okay.
He was working with me for about 8 months. He had been in a prior place. And I got a knock at the door, and he said, Kim, can I ask you, is there any chance that you think you might be able to talk to my bro, and because he really could use a job.
Right.
And I'm like, really? He's just like, yeah, and I'd really like him to be here. I think it would work really well. And he came in the next day, wonderful. And it's just, I have 3 sets of family members.
Wow.
So
With
the
8
biggest
people, that's
honor,
huge.
right?
Yeah.
There's 3 sets of them.
Yeah.
They're cousins.
Right.
Well, actually, that bro, that
Right.
was his best friend.
Right.
The best man at his wedding and the godfather to his daughter. So they're not blood relatives, but
close
might as
enough.
well be.
More closer.
Yeah.
Closer.
But like what does that say to
Right.
me?
Absolutely.
Like, it was one of my biggest.
That's a CEO success.
It really, like, that to me, it was like, you think enough of your happiness here that you want to bring your family in, your
I always say our business like a family. I feel the same way. Feel the same way.
That's my luck.
Yeah. So question, so how do people get hold of you?
Well, it's 101 Mobility Long Island, if you want to Google that.
Right.
Also, the phone number is 516, very easy, 516-500-3100.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, oftentimes you'll call and I'll answer. But, yeah.
I didn't even know you can get a 500 number in the first few digits.
Yeah,
Okay.
516-500-3100. And, we're located in Farmingdale, 101 Mobility. And everybody's like, is that a mobile cell phone?
Right, yeah. I went on your
No,
website.
It's
I went on your website. I like the website.
Oh, thank you.
I like the fact you show your employees. I like the fact you had all the
Thanks.
reviews. It was good. I like to do that, do my homework before I have a guest on.
Oh, thank you very much.
I thank you very much for coming.
Absolutely. It's been my pleasure. I love doing this.
There you go.
It's nice. I feel like I'm bragging.
And I always tell everyone, when you come on our podcast, it's just like having a conversation.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, it's been lovely.
Yeah, well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Unlocking Senior Resources podcast by Leave the Key. If you've enjoyed this episode or found it helpful, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast. We specialize in working with seniors who are transitioning out of their homes, and we understand what you are going through. So if you are considering selling your home and would like an alternative to the traditional overwhelming process, reach out to see how we can help. When working with us, you can sell your home in its current condition, there is no need to remove unwanted items, and you control when the house is sold, along with so many other advantages. Visit leavethekey.com or call us at 631-388-7771 to learn more about our senior home buying process.